Medical personnel of Reddit. What was the most uneducated statement a patient has said to you? I just remembered a second story. This girl came to the pharmacy to return her birth control. I asked her why. She said she got pregnant. I asked if she took it every day. She said, no. On the days I didn't feel like taking it, I made my BF take it. I couldn't believe the stupidity. I made them answer a bunch of questions until they realized how stupid they were. A mother requested a maternity test for her child. Not a paternity test, but a maternity test. She was convinced that her husband put another woman's semen in her when she was sleeping. You read that correctly. People who think I'm taking their vital signs at 4 AM to make more money. No. You just had open heart surgery 12 hours ago. It's kind of a serious thing. A year ago, before my grandmother died, when a nurse would come in to take her vitals, my grandmother would put up such a fight because she thought the nurse was actually stealing vital signs from her, as if they were a tangible object. My friend has just graduated as a doctor and did a placement in Cape Town, down in South Africa. Apparently things get a little crazy on Friday nights, and one night they had a guy come in, presumably in an ambulance, with an axe lodged in his head. The patient didn't survive. A few hours later another guy came in and asked if he could get his axe back. They said, certainly sir, wait right here, and called the police. Walked into the local detox one night for a seizure and find a male flopping himself around on the floor while some disinterested nurses watch. I give the universal greeting of M's. What you got? Before the nurses can answer, the patient looks up at me from the floor and says, hey, man. Down here. I'm having a seizure. Then he goes back to flopping. Time to start and forth. Pick a number between 13 and 15. Drawing blood. I had an older woman say, wait, you're going to put it back, right? No. I'm not. And she freaked out. She didn't know the body will replace it. Edit. Spelling. Once had a patient who was prescribed an inhaler for his cat allergy. He came back a week later saying he was none the better. Turns out he was spraying the inhaler on his cat. When I worked in the Canadian Rockies, we had an incident where a mother sprayed her kids with bear spray as they thought it was a repellent like bug spray. It was 99% cayenne pepper with a 9-foot range. Oh dear God. After looking at the patient's chart and seeing she had diabetes. Me. Do you have any medical conditions? Patient. No. Me. Are you sure? You've never been told you have any diseases? Patient. Never. Me. What medications do you take? Patient. My diabetes. But diabetes is a superpower. I wish I could have been the medical person I pretend to be. Well, it would have killed the organism in question. There's no doubt about that. I want an STD test. 'Cause I had sex with 2 people without washing my dick in between. Okay, do you know if either of them had an STD? Or do you? No, they don't. But that's how you get them, in it. I'm sorry. You get STDs by not washing your dick in between, woman. No. No, they have to already have. You should always wear a. That's just bad hygiene. Uncle is a dentist. Said he had this 20-some-year-old come in with a bombed out molar that needed to be pulled. He explains that she is going to lose her tooth and is expecting some sort of negative reaction, which is customary. Her response? That's okay. I'll just wait for the other one to grow in. What other one? Like when I got these. It was because I lost the old ones. Those were baby teeth. These are adult teeth. You only get one set. So nothing will grow in the hole? Shudders. I cracked a molar once and had it pulled. My wisdom tooth took its place. Wasn't expecting it though. 20-something-year-old patient comes to her. Chief complaint on the board is private. This should be good. Go in. He is visibly depressed and sad. Tells a story about how he slept with a woman. Didn't use protection. And after he noticed she had a plastic box on her. When she told him it was an insulin pump for diabetes, he was mortified. Came in immediately to be tested for diabetes. I have a companion story. A patient was brought up to ICU in HHS. Hyperosmotic hyperglycemia state is a severe complication of DM2. So when the patient finally came to, I noticed the family were all wearing masks. So I inquire. They say, well, we don't want to catch diabetes. I'm floored and explain diabetes to them. They in turn are floored that food could be a major factor in type 2. They don't believe me and have grandma come in to talk to me and say how horrible of a person I'm to say that her food could have contributed to a disease. They spend the remainder of their stay saying how stupid the staff is and continue with their belief that all information we gave to them is not true. Well, 2 days in, I walk into the patient's room. The aunt is always awake and asking questions. So when I go in and greet her good morning with no response, I know something's up. I try to wake the aunt. No response. I test her blood sugar. It's so high that it doesn't register on the handheld glucometer. So I call a code. We transfer her to her and guess what? She went into HHS too and earns a room next to her relatives. And they probably think she caught it from the one that already had it. I had asthma when I was a child. So stop patronizing me and telling me how to raise my daughter just because you think you're smarter than me. Leaves hospital. Back in hospital 2 hours later. 6-year-old daughter in respiratory failure and admitted to ICU. Can't doctors step in to avoid parents willingly killing their kids through ignorance? Or are parents allowed to continue thinking they are infallible? Very complex. Different country to country. They had the treatment and claimed to know how to use it and left without proving that. Not enough to step in and overrule her. I read that like you're Mordin Salas. Eggs. I ain't no chicken. My house cleaner's teenage daughter was helping out one day and as I said hello she mentioned that she was pregnant. Again. This will be child number 3, so I comment that at least we know her eggs are healthy. Then I receive the chicken/egg comment. I give her the short version of human reproduction and am rebuffed. I promise her that she in fact is full of eggs and hers are in top form. A week later she is back and informs me that a nurse confirmed everything I had said. I gave her insulin because her sugar was low. Also dumping ice water on overdosed heroin addicts. That just makes the paramedics wet. As someone with a mom who has type 1 diabetes, I find that terrifying. On a similar note, a lady once tried to give my mother Splenda when her sugar was low. I'm a type 1, and adults think diabetics can't have sugar at all, and refuse to let me have sugar when it's low. But apparently carbohydrates from any other source are 100% acceptable. I have given up attempting to explain this to my older relatives. An old man from a remote valley thought that he had got Parkinson's disease because he had been masturbating frequently when he was younger. That's what the church told the young boys to keep them from doing it. Poor guy. I'm not a medical person, but I once thought I was having a heart attack at work and drove myself to the ER. I was placed in a bed with a curtain after skipping tridge and getting EG/egged right in the hallway. Of the 5 other roommates separated by curtains was a 53-year-old man that was therefore burning sensation in his penis. I know this because multiple people came to talk to him about his condition and he had no volume modulation. What everyone kept asking him was, did you put something chemical in your penis? His response to each one was yeah. I might have. It took 5 nurses and a doctor before he finally fessed up to what it was. Bleach. He said he dribbled bleach into the tip of his penis to keep from getting an STD. The nurse was silent for a few solid moments before asking why and if he did this every time he was sexually active. He said he wanted it clean and that he wasn't sexually active at the moment. He wasn't sexually active. He had done it after masturbating and was under the impression his own semen could have infected his dick with something he didn't want. She then had to lecture him that if he wasn't sexually active with another person, he likely wouldn't contract an STD, and that soap and water are a good way to clean his genitalia in the future. I was frozen in my bed making that face from Edward Munch's The Scream and my now ex-wife mirroring it back to me. The man was moved elsewhere perhaps to rebuild his urethral lining, and we were still too shocked to discuss it until leaving the hospital 4 hours later. Edit. Forgot year old.